So, hello, welcome to the next episode of the Self Development with Tactics podcast. And today, as you can see, there's quite nothing in the background. And today, I'm really willing to do something different than normally. Today, we're actually going to discuss Instagram and Instagram content and what I think is working right now and what I think is not working, or what is better working and what is not as good working. And obviously, I'll take Gary Vee as an example because he puts out good content most often, but there are a few interesting things you can see by just, watching his feed and seeing what's performing good and what's performing better or worse. And something you can see immediately is that videos get enormous attention. They can see 176k of views, then 405k of views, 409, 525, 942 even, and 1 million, 873. And the thing is, just take a look at these numbers. And then this. A picture, so not a video, only a picture, gets hardly 100k likes. This is, maybe, the thing is, maybe these things get, and in terms of the comments, the comments are just also better at these things. So in general, I would say videos are performing just amazing on YouTube. That's why, not YouTube, but Instagram. That's why the latest post of mine was actually a video in some sort of this style. These work pretty good when they get, transcribed into words in the video, so that I think it's pretty good and pretty, practical, because if you do not have any headphones or you do not want any, other music, so you're listening to music and you do not want Instagram as an additional source of noises and so on, which is just maybe not that great to listen to, then you can just, read along, which is really, really good. And often you can see all these things are written on white background, which so with a black font on white background. I think it's not only because all his posts are basically black and white, or most of the time white, instead of this one, everything instead of this one. But there is a lot of white in his feed. I think it's not only because of aesthetics, but this creates high contrasts. Imagine this on black. On black, it wouldn't be as attention getting. So you just have to think about it as, if you're in the app, then you can see all these pictures you can see there, or videos, in a much smaller size. And the thing is, the higher your contrast then is, the higher your attention gets, or the more attention you will get, because the more contrast it is, the more it will differentiate from the other few posts. And there's just some kind of insect in my room. And another thing you will notice is that he is always using a grotesque font, which means there are no serifs. Not like, I will show you. Serif font. For the people who don't know, these are serif fonts. No, you might not see them. These are serif fonts, and grotesque fonts, or grotesque with like this or not, are fonts without serifs. And I'm also willing to discuss everything also in some kind of design standpoint, because as you might know, I'm a graphic design student, and I know quite a bit about design and why you can use certain colors, and so on. Then you can see when he uses colors, he often uses red because also of the contrast, and it's, red was always and will always be a color that's used for signs, traffic signs. It indicates blood, it indicates love, it indicates all the time quite attention-getting things, and it's also a high contrast, and such a bright red you will never see in some pictures. So you will never see such a bright red in other pictures, and then you should also be using quite big font so that it is easier to read, even when you are just looking at the post, when it is smaller in your search feed. And it's also, but the thing is, if I show you this one, it shouldn't be too big, because too big fonts are just not great to read, especially when you're, for example, making let's say a leaflet or something like this. Please do use your font in maybe size 12 points or 10 points. 12 point is really the upper part, but especially in some kind of this is more like a poster design thing. Your font can be bigger, but you shouldn't really overdo it. You shouldn't do it, because then it's just like it's looking a little cheap, and the aesthetics are gone, at my point of view. Then something else, his team or himself, they get very, very creative with what's above the videos. So you can see there is a reminder, and then there are shoes and Supreme. So this is also some attention-getting stuff, which are just trending and hyped. And you can, if you see this, you probably will click on it. This is it didn't get too many views, but it's just quite a new video. But maybe I'll see what's tomorrow like. This one is pretty aesthetic. I have to say, in general, his video thumbnails on YouTube are pretty aesthetic. If they are such short films kind of stuff, these are pretty great. Then there you can see if he uses colors, he most of the time uses red as a color, or blue. This is some kind of different post, completely different. And these are some, I don't know if I should like them, where the text is all around the place, very, very big. It's good to read when the post is pretty small in your search feed, as I was saying before. But if you click on it, with the picture and him just staring at the font, it's good. But everything else, I don't know. It's, even though it doesn't look bad, the thing is, he has pretty great designers, I have to say, because these things don't look shit. They look pretty good. Also because, and just for the podcast listeners, it's a little bit bad, but you will get something from it. I nearly have to promise you. But here in this post, you can see or you might mean that it is actually on a white background, but there's actually a structure. So it's kind of paperish. It's not a wall, some kind of paper. And the font, there's a little bit going on, and there you can see faces, and there's actually a picture in this font, which creates a little bit of depth. And even though you might not see it immediately, you notice it subconsciously, and therefore the post is a little bit not so boring. I think it's greatly made. But let's see actually what's in my search thing. These are pretty common pictures or videos in general where the transcribe part is beneath the actual video, and over the video or above the video there's just something else, like a title or something else. Let's see. It seems to be like this right and wrong thing. You have seen, now it is a little bit declined, but you have seen them a lot, where you can see somebody's drawing something and they say, you shouldn't be doing it like this, you should be doing it like that, with some kind of green and red stuff going on. And this, according to a book I was discussing also on the channel, works pretty well, because our brain just works this some kind, or I don't know. And by the way, it is always good to write a question down in your caption to just indicate that you want to communicate with the people who are watching this, and so on. And there you can immediately see that most of the time they use quite big fonts. And also something that I have some sort of discovered, some things that seem not to be real or seem a little bit, future-ish, or you do not really get it at first sight, are most of the time these things that get a lot of views or clicks or likes or whatever. For example, this one. You do not know, it might be something cutting metal or iron or something, but you can't really, you do not really know. This is the thing behind this one. And the thing is, then you click on it and then you see it. So this is also something that contributes my how should I say, my thesis, or something I've also covered on this channel, that mysteries are getting attention, which means that something you do not know yet, and you put it in the title like you didn't know that, or there's some mystery box going on, what you see a lot on YouTube lately, or what you have seen a lot lately. This creates a great amount of tension, actually. Maybe I'll find another one like this, like what I meant. You do not know what this is. It's also a mystery. This is, or seems to be, some kind of gadget from Panasonic, and it's a video. And this gadget is put into two shoes, for the podcast listeners. I'm describing it, and I don't know what it is. And so it makes me curious to see what it is. With that being said, it may be good just to use just really, really, a really, really close up of something like this. This is a golf ball, and this might be, this thing you hit it with. I don't know what it's called, but you don't know, because the frame is so close, so narrow to the picture itself, that you can't decide what it is. And then you actually click on it to see what it is. I've tried to see how I could implement this this thing into my feed, but I forgot it often, and then you just do not think about it all the time. You think about, in my terms, also about YouTube and Twitter and what's going on there, and on Facebook is going very, very bad, also because the organic reach there is only 3% of your whole follower range, which means that only 3% of your followers, if you have, let's say, if you have 10,000 followers, only 300 would see it if I've just calculated correctly. 300 of 10,000, which is just enormous. And Gary Vee is telling us, or telling lately, that the same thing should be going on in 2019 with Instagram. So they will be declining it as well. As you might know, Instagram is actually some business of Facebook. So Zuckerberg bought it, which was a pretty great move of him, I think, because he gets really monopoly going on here, some kind of in terms of social media networks. But let's go ahead and see what else I can find, or I just, I saw or see a lot. Yeah, this is what I meant. This is a picture of Gary Vee with 2 points. It's then and now, and there is a paragraph under 10 and paragraph under now to, to tell what it's actually meant, or what is being described here. And the then, before the then, there's a red circle with an X in it, and in the now there is a green circle with a check mark thing in it. And this is something that seems seems to get attention by our brains subconsciously, because we just keep attention to some things like this. And just because I see it, do you know the FedEx logo? For the podcast listeners now, there between the E and the X there's actually an arrow, if you didn't know that. And this this stands for the delivery part of this company, which to emphasize this and to really show it in the logo as well, which a logo is there for showing what the company is actually doing, or some sort of emphasizing with, or some sort of showing it. Because I read Starbucks, by looking at the Starbucks logo, you might not know what Starbucks is all about, but often it is like. Then something like this, you have probably seen it, but this is what is it called? What is it called? I don't know. I really don't know. Sink? Is it a sink? I think it's a sink. Maybe it's only in the kitchen. A sink. But there's some kind of sink. And the sink is just some weird kind of stuff, because, it's made out of, it seems like an industrial piece from a plane or a car or something like this. And, it would be better if they just, made the frame very big, so that the sink is pretty small, to let us just click on it. And then we can actually see it, because as I'm going through this now, I just can see it. I will go over it because I see what I have to see. This might be actually a reason to use a small font size, just to create this curiosity and so on. But yeah, I'm sorry. Let's see. Exactly. Also, some things that our brain keeps attention to is human faces. According to some study I've read about social media posts, if you give a person 2 pictures, one with a human on it, or especially a human face directly looking at you, and one without a human face, so like only text or something, with the human face will get more likes than the other one, because we just are some sort of program to see humans, some sort of, which is from a nature standpoint out, it makes sense, because you just maybe you in the early days we were surviving and so on, and a human face is just a great thing to see, because they can provide you help, and maybe even dangerous. So it's some kind of survival instinct in terms of being dangerous and being worth you something, actually. And then what was also something often also, or especially in terms of this self-help and self-improvement and self-development trends, I would say, going on, you see a lot of icons and symbols and everything, ideas put up into pictures. They probably just use some pictures from elsewhere. They just Google, icon or pictogram. It's actually called a pictogram of sleeping, and I can just show you that this would be a great one. I normally, and I do this as well, I normally look them up on Pixabay, because on Pixabay I know that that there are no licenses going on. And then you type in, for example, sleep, as I was doing right now, and check the vector graphics so that you can scale them whatever you want, because vector graphics are always new calculated, so they will not lose their quality when you scale them up or down or something, or push them together or whatever you want to do with them. It's not like with pictures. And there you can see there are just a few great things. Also some kind of illustrated stuff, and you can easily just use them for your posts or for your pictures or thumbnails or whatever you want, which is also some kind of great because you can visualize everything more. And you might know that Instagram is just a very, very visual based platform, and everything that looks good or, you know, is some sort of attractive gets viewed. Then what's also quite common, you know, especially some things that just are, you know, some sort of aesthetic, but also some, you know, mysterious things, or better said, curious things. Not curious. Is it curious? Some strange things. Easily said. Just some strange things. These get a lot of attention as well. Because, you know, you just see them, you be like, you know, what the fuck is this? And then you click on it, and then you're, oh, okay, it's this, and now I get it, and then you share it, and so on and so on. You know what I mean? Then let's see if there's also something, you know, especially girls half naked, but I wouldn't do that. This is something I will never do. And I'm now actually doing red arrows and maybe red circles because they really work. And this is something I wanted to show you. Here's my feed. There you can see 21 likes, 17 likes, 26 likes. 29 is pretty good because videos are always performing much better also at my feed or at my account. Then another picture 20 on this picture, 24 on this picture, and then you only put a red arrow into it, and then you get 38 likes out of nowhere. And there's just not much content in it. It's just some bullshit. You know, not bullshit, but you know, I have much better posts, but only because you can see there's a red arrow in it. That's why I put a red arrow in my latest video. Actually, like, you know, the first frame is only red arrow and like a sign from a video, so that you can actually see that it is a video, and some things going on and so on. You know, just to try it out if this also works. So the red arrow combined with a video should get a lot of great attention, but I'll see. But especially for the next 4 points that I'm going to make for tomorrow, I will put red circles and red fonts and make everything look pretty cheap, because that's what it is. Everything like this looks just, you know, pretty cheap with this red bright thing. And that's why I really show respect for Gary Vee's feed, because it doesn't look cheap at all. Nothing looks cheap at all at his feed. Just everything, just good design and aesthetic, and there's you know, there's some quality behind it. And I just have to learn this also. In terms of design, it's pretty hard for me to make something aesthetic, and then in this kind of area, or just, you know, matrix or whatever, it's also quite hard for me to create aesthetical things, and some things that do not look cheap, and then on top of that get attention. This is, you know, a pretty hard one. But let's see, let's go really, really, really deep down in the exploration tab. Let's see. And I also quite hate these videos where you just see something before. You know, the first frame is something completely different, just something attention getting, and then the rest of the video is just about some boring shit. I really hate this one. But let's see if there's actually something else I have to point out. So we have some strange things get attention, red arrows, red circles get attention, human faces get attention, really, some kind of strange things. You can see already there's a red arrow going on. The videos with a bath title and underneath is the transcribed text, and you should always be, as Gary Vee is also telling you, to sign everything some kind of, and your brand should always be on every fucking post. I don't know why, but maybe it works. And the thing is, just look at what the really famous and really good people are doing, and then you do it the same, and you might get really great attention out of it, or really great ROI, which stands for return of investment. But yeah. But I think this was actually it, and I hope that you some kinda like this episode. It is something different, and I want to do something different on this channel, besides making these normal videos where I talk about articles and or summaries, and the vlogs, which I'm some sort of doing, and then just something else, because then instead I would get bored quite easily. But if there's anything you want to ask me, all the links should be down in the description, whether you are on the podcast or you are on YouTube. And I'll see you the next time. Hope you have a very, very, very great day. Love you all.